Twice before on this channel, I have covered a person by the name of Dhar Mann. I've covered Dhar Mann for a couple different reasons. In my first video I did on Dhar Mann way back towards the end of 2021, I was covering him because I'd seen some of his videos, and from my perspective as a writer, as someone who likes to break down storytelling elements, I thought that his stories were very strangely written and seemed to promote very weird messages, and also just seemed to show an overall Tommy Wiseau style, almost lack of understanding of basic human behavior and motivation. And so I thought from kind of a narrative perspective, it was really fun to break that down. However, shortly after that, I started to realize that Dhar Mann was yet another business guru grifter type, which is why I did another video on him also towards the end of 2021, where I covered some of his business ventures, including the shady weed business when he was a ganjapreneur back then, the time that he was charged with a felony for defrauding the city of Oakland because he decided to use city funds to funnel into his own business and fraudulently claimed that they were not for his business but for the city. There was a whole thing on that. You can watch my other Dhar Mann videos. And then for his weird, almost MLM-style makeup company, Live Glam or Live Glam, that company that he did way back in the day where he was giving people these makeup artistry certificates from beauty guru courses that he was selling to people.
It's a scam.
It is not a scam.
It was all interesting. Basically, Dhar Mann has been a hustler for a very, very long time. Now, I have always been a believer that people can change. I have always been a believer in the power of people being able to reinvent themselves and realize the past error of their ways and decide to start new and honest business ventures and maybe gain back their audience's trust over time. So, when Dhar Mann launched his Dhar Mann Studios, I decided to see, well, is what he's doing here, the videos are kind of weird, the storytelling doesn't make any sense, but is he necessarily a bad or unethical person anymore? Is he perhaps a good or ethical boss? Maybe. Maybe everything's gonna be okay. I had no reason to believe that he was necessarily still doing his business guru grifting, or that he was doing anything necessarily shady other than just making videos that were bad. And every time we've ever reacted to Dhar Mann videos, which I often do on my second channel, Your Morning Guru, linked in the description below on that channel, we have done so many reactions to Dhar Mann videos, which just because they're like really funny. But every time we've reacted to those, we've always basically said like, the actors in these videos commit. Like, the people doing the background music, they commit. Whoever's operating the microphones and the cameras, they commit, because it is a high quality production, especially for something that you can see for free on YouTube. Even if I'm not really a fan of the messages Dhar Mann promotes, and I'm not really a fan of his weird brand of toxic positivity that veers into some strange territory. Again, check out the other videos I've done on him for a further breakdown of that. But even if I'm not necessarily a fan of his past, or of his writing style, or of the topics of the videos he's creating, at the very least, maybe he's not such a bad guy anymore. Maybe he's employing all these people who have legitimate skills, he's providing jobs, he's compensating his employees fairly, right? It's all okay. Well, guess what? Fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, I instantly live to regret it, just like the title of a Dhar Mann video. SAVY decides to give Dhar Mann the benefit of the doubt, instantly regrets it. No more chances, Dhar Mann. Today's video is sponsored by Skillshare, which is an online learning community where you can take unlimited video classes and learn tons of new skills. A lot of people who watch my channel tend to like my content because I talk about writing, about book reviewing, and about starting your own business. And because of that, I often get a lot of questions from people about how to brand your products, how to start a company, how to build a platform on YouTube, and how to monetize your passions. At the start of 2023, I found lots of classes on Skillshare that I think can help with these concepts, starting all the way from square one at the very beginner level. Many of you may already know Skillshare for its classes in photography, film, and video editing and illustration, but Skillshare also has hundreds of classes focused on professional and career growth as well, including classes that mix in some of those creative skills. For example, if you're looking to grow your brand through video content like what I did for myself as an author with this YouTube channel, then you might enjoy the class Video for Beginners, Create Original and Engaging Content, taught by traveling videographer Charles Carter. This class isn't just about the technical elements of creating a video, but also about the breakdown of what engages your viewers, how to identify and speak to your audience, and more. I know I have a lot of freelance creators and artists in my audience as well, so another class I'd recommend is Pricing Your Work and Negotiating with Clients, taught by an artist named Jesse Ledoux. You guys know how I'm all about mixing creativity with business, and that means that we can't just focus on the product itself. We need to figure out how our creation is going to make us money. And this type of class gets into the details about pricing your services, negotiating with potential clients, and making sure you're fairly compensated for your work. Overall, I really love the variety of classes offered on Skillshare, and not just for professional development purposes either. In addition to some of the classes I mentioned, I've also added classes to my Skillshare library for hobbies I have, like learning to do my makeup better, and working on my pronunciation while I learn to speak Polish. Whether you're looking to learn new skills for a hobby, for your work, or just because you enjoy the process of learning, Skillshare is absolutely a resource I would recommend. If you're interested in trying Skillshare, go ahead and click the link in my description below. The first 1,000 people who click this link will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. That way you can try out the classes and see if you enjoy learning on Skillshare as much as I do. Thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to click the link in my description and try out Skillshare for yourself. Now, let's get back to our topic. Dhar Mann has now become the villain in one of his own videos. Recently, as in, I want to say at the time I'm filming this just yesterday, it was revealed that Dhar Mann's actors have gone on, I don't know if it's a complete strike, but they have started protesting the working conditions with having Dhar Mann as a boss. So we're about to take a look at some of the protests that have been going on among Dhar Mann's employees. We are going to start looking at some of the things that his actors have been posting on Instagram and TikTok to talk about the unfair compensation and unfair expectations that they have, that he as a boss has of them as his employees. So, no, turns out Dhar Mann is still the grifter he always was. He's still the gross boss bro type. Some people never change, I guess.
Get you some nuts.
There was lots of memes.
Makes me wonder if I should pick up lesbianism.
Chicago. You guys asked for it.
What's up, my fellow small business supporters? I'm Savvy. Welcome back to Savvy Writes Books, the channel where we talk about books and business, and today we are going to be talking about the business practices of someone who has very unfortunately not been the best example of how to be an ethical boss. And that person, of course, is going to be Dhar Mann. But before we get into another Dhar Mann video, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel because multiple times a week I always put out new videos about books and business. But while you're at it, don't forget to ring the little notification bell so that you get notified when new videos come out on this channel. And in addition, don't forget to check out my second channel, Your Morning Guru, linked below, where if you scroll through that channel, if you scroll through our past live streams, you can find quite a lot of Dhar Mann reactions there, and they're always very funny. I think some of the most recent ones were like Christmas ones. He did like some Home Alone knockoffs. Wasn't good. But I will say one thing, the actors are always great, which is why it's such a shame to learn that he hasn't been compensating them fairly and that a lot of them are kind of fed up with the way that he's been running his company. And we're going to take a look at all of that in just a second. So, little context, little background, if you are new to the whole Dhar Mann world, the Dhar Mann fam, as he calls it, if you're new to the Dhar Mann fam, basically, Dhar Mann is a YouTube content creator with millions and millions of subscribers. He has a huge channel, and he is someone who puts out a lot of content, and it's a lot of high-effort content. He puts out videos pretty much every day, sometimes multiple times a day. They all get millions of views, and they're all produced at the quality of a short film as opposed to just being something like this where I'm just talking to you guys. He likes to do, short film style things. So he has a studio called Dhar Mann Studios in Burbank, California, where he films on his sets. He has like a little school set, he has little apartment sets, he has a little town set. He has these sets where people come and they film these videos. And the common theme among all the videos is that they're supposed to promote some kind of moral, some kind of positive lesson. Usually the videos have catchy or clickbaity titles like, "This person decided to steal from their mom, instantly regrets it. Young guy tries to scam elderly man, instantly regrets it. Woman is a gold digger to her husband and only wants him for money, instantly regrets it." I also like the ones that are like, "Someone tries to criticize Dhar Mann, instantly regrets it."
How can you kick me out of what is mine?
Like, the dude is a little weird with criticism like that. He enjoys making videos about himself. He's a character in his own universe. He's always been a little strange to me, but the videos are things that are definitely meant to gain a lot of views quickly, meant to go viral. They're the kind of things that with subtitles you could share on Facebook, and that like maybe your older aunt who hangs out on Facebook and sends you things all the time, and or your grandma who sends you chain letters in your emails might be scrolling past Facebook with the sound off and see the video start auto-playing with the subtitles and get invested in this very cheesy plot, and then think at the end like, oh, wasn't that a nice message about how we're not supposed to steal from other people, or we're not supposed to lie to people? That's wonderful. I'm gonna share this with everybody, and then Dhar Mann just brings in more ad revenue. That's the basis of his business model. He's making clickbait. Now, he doesn't do this alone. He has a large team of actors. He has a large crew that does camera operating, microphone stuff, sound design, audio engineering. He has people doing all that stuff as well. He is the owner of the company. He often writes a lot of the scripts and directs some of them, but he is not the sole person working on these videos. He has a lot of people working for him on his team as well, which is why it's important to make sure that, is he paying everyone fairly? Is he treating his employees the way that they deserve to be treated? And until now, I didn't really have any reason to believe that he wasn't, until we learned about the fact that a lot of the actors from his videos have been protesting him and demanding better pay and better conditions. So let's take a look at some of that now. So recently there's been a hashtag on TikTok that has been kind of garnering a little bit of attention over the past day, and it's hashtag protest Dhar Mann. This is one of the big videos that's been blowing up about it. It is from the actor Colin Borden, who is in a lot of Dhar Mann's videos. If you've seen any of his videos, you may recognize this guy because he's often a dad character. I remember him being in a video that was like, "Dad is an alcoholic, instantly regrets it," or something, where it's like he drinks and drives and gets in a car crash or something like that. He's that guy. He's also just a dad character in a lot of videos where the kids need to learn a lesson about listening to their parents or whatever, but he's a very frequent face that we see very often in Dhar Mann videos. And he was one of the first people to speak out about the fact that he didn't feel actors were being treated fairly by Dhar Mann. So let's hear what he has to say, and then we'll do some discussion of it and look at what some of the other actors have been saying as well.
Wow, what the heck is going on? Hey, Colin A. Borden here. I don't normally like to do serious things anywhere, but especially here on social media, because I think it's a rather frivolous sort of thing. And as an actor, a writer-director, I just think of myself as an entertainer.
That's relatable. I hate being serious on social media. You guys know I'm posting memes most of the time.
Uh-oh. You know what? Miss Lemons must be on crack, right, kids?
My Instagram is mostly pictures of me and my American Girl doll dressing the same at this point. Posting serious things on social media is not fun. Social media is not a good place for serious discussion. But there are times like this where it is a good way to spread a message, like the very one he's going to be spreading about the bad stuff that his boss is doing. So I get what he's saying. I know it can be kind of tough to sometimes listen to someone say, I just want to be funny, I just want to be entertaining, and then they feel almost like they have to be a little more serious. It can be tough. I don't like those moments either. I get it.
And I like to do entertaining things, even if that's me pretending to think that I'm going to die because I ate unwashed peppers.
That's probably a Dhar Mann video that I haven't seen yet.
But now I am going to talk about something a little serious because, you know, if you've been following my page or other people's pages from the show that I'm on, you probably know that some stuff is going down. So I want to give a little bit of an explanation about it. Essentially, as an actor at Dhar Mann Studios, I am just a contract player. I have no employment there.
So this is a key piece of it. First of all, he's talking about how he is working on contract. He is not a salaried employee. He doesn't have benefits. He doesn't have like a guaranteed yearly salary. Dhar Mann employs all his actors and I believe his crew as well. I don't know if a lot of you guys saw this, but last year, I believe at the beginning of last year on Your Morning Guru, we did an interview with someone who worked for Dhar Mann in the past, and it was a guy who did some of the music composition for the background music in his videos. We interviewed that musician who was one of the people who worked on the audio team for that kind of stuff. And at the time that we interviewed him, he was still working for Dhar Mann, so he wasn't going to say anything bad about him. He just kind of talked about the positives of working there and what it was like and things like that. I believe he doesn't work for him anymore and doesn't quite feel the same way anymore. But my point is, when we talked to him, he kind of said the the same thing, that it's contract work, that it's work where you're either hired per assignment or you're hired to get a certain amount of work done. And I'm not going to say necessarily that that's bad. I've hired people on contract to do lots of things. As a small business owner myself, I've hired people to do one-time projects on contract and things like that. So the fact that the actors are contract employees is not bad in and of itself. It's just that that is somewhere where you have to be careful to make sure that you're paying everyone well and you're not demanding too much of them, because if you're not offering a full-time job with benefits, oftentimes people who are working on contract are taking multiple gigs at the same time. So you can't be overworking someone to full-time work status and not paying them to compensate for it, if that makes sense.
I am just sort of called every now and then, as are all the other actors. And it just is not sustainable. And there are a lot of issues at hand here, but one of the main issues is that not a single actor that works at Dhar Mann Studios can afford rent.
So that's pretty unsettling to hear.
That ain't right.
I just want to be clear, I am going to take this guy's allegations at face value. I'm going to believe him, but at the same time, just for the sake of, I guess, integrity in talking on this channel, I cannot say for certain that I have verified that it is true that absolutely no actors can afford rent. But if we're taking this guy at his word, then that's pretty concerning, especially considering if you're going to have your studio exist in Burbank, California, right by Los Angeles, right? We're one of the most expensive parts of the country to live in, but that's where a lot of the entertainment industry works. I get it. It can be, that's a higher cost of living area, so you're going to need to pay people a higher amount of money. And if people aren't able to afford their rent, that's bad. Again, that's why it's important that if you're someone who hires people on contract, that you need to make sure you're paying fairly for the amount of time that you're spending with them. And I'm not certain the details on everything just yet. However, that is the thing we keep in mind, is that a lot of contract employees are working multiple jobs and do have to find different types of work all the time to piece together into multiple income streams, which is why you really can't take advantage of someone in that position. But to hear that people are having trouble affording rent is very frustrating, especially when we're considering that Dhar Mann's whole message, first of all, he has this whole message about being a good person and being a good boss. How many videos have we seen of his where it's a boss mistreating their employee, lives to regret it, things like that. He has all these videos about why we need to treat other people well and value other people, and we know that Dhar Mann himself is absolutely not hurting for money. He likes to flex on all of us. He likes to show us his big house, his expensive life. He likes to show off the boss bro hustle culture lifestyle like a lot of people that we take a look at. So if he's out here bragging about all the wealth that he has, and then he has all these people working for him that are like, we can't afford rent, actually, that's really not a good look, and it really does go against his message.
This is a show that has millions of views across multiple social media platforms. Videos are shot, edited, posted, repackaged as new videos, reposted in other places over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, so what he's bringing up here is the fact that Dhar Mann will often release the videos on YouTube. They'll get tons of views on YouTube, make tons of money on ad revenue, and then he'll also post them to Facebook, where they'll get tons of new views from a different audience. They get posted as Instagram Reels. They get posted everywhere. So Dhar Mann videos get reposted all over the place, making ad revenue from as many sources as possible. Dhar Mann himself is absolutely not hurting for money.
Racking in millions of views, ad revenue, all this sort of stuff. The studio has continued to expand for some time. My entire tenure there, when I first started, we shot everything, as I've told you guys on lives and things like that. We shot everything in an apartment building downtown, in an apartment, not even the building. Occasionally we would go to the garage of that building, but it was really just all in one apartment. And now there are 3 sound stages in Burbank, but things haven't really gotten better for us.
This part is kind of a shame to listen to as well. So this actor is saying he's been with Dhar Mann for years. He's been with this company for a long time, since it was just starting out. Sometimes when you have a new business venture starting out, you can't afford to have the best possible things. You can't afford to have the biggest sets. You still need to pay your employees fairly, but there were probably a lot of employees that were like, all right, I get it. This is a much smaller budget operation. It's not like you're necessarily making that much. But then to stick with someone from the beginning, to say, yes, I do believe in your mission, and yes, I am going to work for you, and stick with them from those very early days of not knowing if it's going to be a success, then it becomes a success. They're taking a lot of profit, but you aren't feeling like you're getting any extra payment. You're not being compensated for the amount of work that you did. I could see how that could be extremely disheartening as an employee. And while I guess Dhar Mann has the legal right to do that, I'm glad that these people are using their right to speak out about it and to share that information, because that's not good. It's not how you treat people.
And again, I don't want to go into specifics because it's kind of a big thing, and it's really just between us. But I think that people should be aware of why we are protesting, why we are out there right now. We've been talking to a lot of actors. It's the same, everybody feels the same across the board. The trouble is, there's a culture at the studio of if you talk, you're out. So we decided to come together as a group and talk collectively with our boss, Dhar Mann.
So that's especially concerning, the idea that there's this culture of if you talk, then you're out. We talk a lot on this channel about toxic positivity as a concept and how that can lead to really unhealthy work environments, especially between bosses and employees. So one of the things when we talk about this idea of toxic positivity is, you guys know I'm a very positive person. I have a pretty good outlook on life. I like enjoying things. I try to do more positive book reviews on this channel and stuff like that. I do like enjoying things and taking part in things that I'm passionate about. But I think that there is a point where you can take that too far, where it becomes, no, we're not expressing any negativity. We're not calling out things when they're harmful to us. We're not willing to criticize other people, and other people aren't opening to hearing criticism. At that point, you create this echo chamber where it's not really, nothing's really improving, nothing's really progressing. And that can especially be a huge issue when you have a boss and an employee, and employees don't feel comfortable being able to question something or question a decision that the boss makes. If you have employees who don't feel comfortable being able to do that because they're worried their job might be at risk or they might not get their next paycheck, that's an extremely unhealthy work environment to cultivate. And there are so many bosses on this channel that we have called out for exactly that type of behavior. People like Dave Ramsey, he's probably the first one I can think of where we've talked to his employees and talked about some of the things that have gone on with people thinking that his company hasn't been a place where people have felt comfortable being open to talking about things or raising concerns. And that seems to be exactly what's going on here. And this actor here is saying, well, none of us individually really felt comfortable asking Dhar Mann, hey, can you pay us more? Hey, can we negotiate this? Nobody really felt comfortable doing that because a lot of people seem to fear for their job security in that case, which, again, like I said, is very concerning. So I guess this makes sense. Some collective action. I don't know if they officially unionized or if they just decided to gather together and say, hey, there's a whole bunch of us here. We all have the same concern. Let's sit down and let's talk about it. That seems like a smart move in this particular case. So they decided to talk with him. And what happened?
We sent a letter to him, a hard copy and an email. The email was CC'd to the head of production as well, so that we made sure that Dhar got it, but it was addressed to Dhar. It was delivered to Dhar. That letter was forwarded to the HR department, which we are not employees of Dhar Mann Studios. We are contract players. So exactly what we had to do with HR, we're not entirely sure, but it was forwarded over there. We were contacted, said we could have a meeting to discuss our issues. That meeting was pushed several times, changed on us. When we finally got to the meeting, we had reiterated that we wanted it to be with Dhar. Dhar was not there, and we said,
okay, well that's really concerning. If they sent a letter, they say they sent an email, and they sent a physical letter. They specifically said, we want a meeting with Dhar Mann directly. We want to meet with our boss. He's the guy who's the face of the whole company. He owns the whole company. He's the one who has the ability to make the decisions at the end of the day. We want to meet with our boss directly. There's a whole group of people that want to do that, and he didn't even go to the meeting to have the negotiations. That's a very bad look.
well, we are not going to have the meeting until Dhar is here. You guys
Reasonable.
can be here, the head of production, the head of HR. That's great. We'd love for you to be there too, so everybody's on the same page, but our meeting is with our boss, the person who signs our contracts, Dhar Mann. Thank you very much. Please get back to us.
And that makes perfect sense, especially considering he's talking about a contract position here. If Dhar Mann is the one creating the contracts, or I'm sure his lawyer is, but like, if he's the one that's signing the contracts, that's signing off on everything, that has the final say, the final decision on what everyone's payment is, of course they want the meeting to be with him and not with HR, who is not directly responsible for them, because all that's going to do is have the illusion of a meeting. That seems a lot more performative, a lot more of doing something, just going through the motions. Like, oh, okay, HR met, we had the meeting. HR doesn't really have the power to do anything in this case, so it just looks like we took some action, but in reality, Dhar Mann did nothing.
Yeah, fucking alright, eh?
It looks like he's trying to weasel his way out of it. That's how it seems to me. I can't read his mind, but this is sus, dude. This is sus.
I want any lip from you, I'll rattle my zipper.
With a time for the next meeting by next Tuesday. Just a time for the meeting, not necessarily the next meeting, but by Tuesday. We said this in person. We reiterated it a few minutes later via an email. We checked back in following a couple days. reiterating again, we would like to speak specifically with Dhar. This is what the meeting is about. This is our boss. This is who we want to talk to. End of the week comes and goes. We learned Saturday there will not be a meeting.
What?
Meanwhile, a lot of other stuff has happened at the studio.
So they just said, nope, no meeting. Dhar Mann is refusing to meet with them. Oh, oof. I'm glad they're speaking out about this, because you guys, you know, there's one thing I can't stand, and that's when something is not what it says on the tin. I've talked about this before. I like it when things are what you expect. So if someone's gonna be an asshole, but like they're always publicly an asshole and have been the whole time, I expect that of them. I know what I'm getting into.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
When you brand yourself as this person who it's like, my whole message is that we need to treat each other with the most respect, we need to never do anything bad to each other, and then you're treating your own employees badly, refusing to talk to them, refusing to meet with them, that just makes you look like a non-genuine person. It makes you look extremely insincere, and I think it's really starting to expose Dhar Mann for the grifter that he is. I don't necessarily believe that this message is true to his heart. In the past, I may have given him the benefit of the doubt and thought, it's possible that these are just cheesy videos, but deep down inside, he believes in the message. I don't think that's possible. I don't think it is. Not when he's treating his employees this way.
That's some not great stuff. Whether it's connected or not, we don't know, because no one's talking to us. So that's why we're here right now, because all we wanted to do was sit down and have a conversation with our boss. That didn't happen. We were told explicitly that there will not be any meetings and that any issues that we have can be written down and forwarded to HR.
Yeah, this is what's frustrating too. I know a lot of times people say, don't criticize publicly, try to handle it privately, try to work out the things that you dislike behind the scenes. And I think that in general that can be good advice when you're trying to avoid a conflict, to try to work things out before taking things public. But in a lot of cases, by the time something goes public in the first place, people have already tried to work it out. And this is one of those particular cases. Because he's saying right here, this wasn't like he wanted to just go on TikTok and say Dhar Mann exposed. It's not like he was trying to start drama and say, I hate my boss. He explicitly was talking about how not just him, but a lot of other actors too, they all got together and tried multiple times to have meetings with Dhar Mann. They sent him letters, they talked to HR, they talked to other people at the company, they met with someone, Dhar Mann didn't go to the meeting, someone else told them there would be no meeting. They kept trying multiple times to make some kind of meeting happen where they could work these things out amongst themselves and not bring it into the public eye like this. And at the end of the day, if Dhar Mann is going to keep refusing to meet with people and refusing to negotiate, what other choice do they have at that point than to take this public? I guess some people may say, I guess you could choose not to work for Dhar Mann, which is true. You can choose not to work for Dhar Mann, but you can also choose to warn other people as to why they might also not want to work for him.
Warning! Warning! Warning!
Which seems to be one of the messages I'm gathering from this. So let's continue with this.
And that's just not acceptable. So that's where we are right now. The work that I personally have done at Dhar Mann, I'm incredibly proud of. I've built an incredible community over there of co-workers and fans.
I agree. I think this dude should be proud, because every Dhar Mann video I've ever seen him in, he commits to the role. He's a good actor. I legitimately like him and I like his work. So, by the way, I am going to be putting Colin Borden's TikTok in the description below, and I will put in the description below the TikTok, Instagram, the pages of every cast member that I reference in this video, so you can go follow them and give them some support as well, because if they're not going to work for Dhar Mann, they're still going to need to find some acting work and are going to need some support and to carry those fan bases other places, which is why this can get a little difficult when you're someone who works in a creative field and is working on contract. It can definitely be tough.
There's no denying that Dhar Mann is in my obituary, whether I go tomorrow or in 50 years or whatever. It's done. I've loved my time at Dhar Mann, and so much of that has to do with people like you who are watching this little video right now. So thank you to you. Thank you for being a supporting fan. Thank you for just watching. Thank you for just being a part of the community that we've built. The goal is to keep going to work, to have a conversation with Dhar, and to keep working at Dhar Mann Studios with the people that I love, doing the work that I love. We'll see.
Yeah, so he's basically saying, he's not even saying all of us are going to quit, none of us want to work for him anymore, all of us are saying no. He's saying we would like to get back to this job, we would just like to be doing it under terms that we can all agree to together. We are really just trying to have a meeting. It really looks like he's still just pushing for the meeting. And I find it really odd that Dhar Mann has avoided meeting for this long. So on TikTok right now, there's a whole hashtag protest Dhar Mann. And there's a bunch of people who are in his videos and a bunch of people reacting to his videos. So let's take a look at a few more of these. So this TikTok here is from Brianni Walker, who is another actor in Dhar Mann videos. She's, I believe, a teenager. We've seen her in a lot of videos where she often plays either one of the kids who has to learn a lesson about listening to their parents or not torturing the babysitter. We've sometimes seen her in videos where, you know how there's that one video where there's the girl who's friends with Sniper Wolf? That whole arc is so weird. But there's a whole arc about that, and this girl often plays like a friend of that girl. I believe this girl has also played the mean girl in a couple videos, like the mean girl where it's like she's the rich girl who's making fun of the poor girl's Halloween costume or something. I think that's a video. Anyway, she's been a recurring character as one of the kid characters in a lot of his videos. She often plays someone who goes to the high school when he has like a video set on the high school set and things like that. So she's one of the kids. And the fact that kids are involved in this protest is also, I think, another thing that we need to talk about, because Dhar Mann employs a lot of people, and a lot of his actors are children. That was one of the things that I talked about when I made my first video about Dhar Mann, where I was just kind of talking about the messages of his videos. I always thought his videos were a little manipulative to kids, and that was one of the things that I always felt extremely uneasy about with him. The fact that in a lot of his videos, there's a common thread that's like, kid makes fun of Dhar Mann, instantly regrets it, and it'll be a video about a kid criticizing Dhar Mann, because he's a character in his own universe, like I said. It'll be about a kid criticizing him, and then the kid will have to learn a lesson. And the fact is that a lot of kids actually do watch these videos. Like, when I've put out videos against Dhar Mann, a lot of people in my comments have said, oh, like, my 9-year-old son watches Dhar Mann. So Dhar Mann videos are popular with young children because the plots are very simple, because they have a very straightforward storyline, they're not very complex, and there's something quick and easy that a kid could watch, like, on a YouTube app or something. So his audience does have a lot of children in it. So I always thought it was weird the way he talked to and about kids in his videos. Like, for example, there might be a video that was like, kid gets bullied and learns to stand up for himself or something, and the kid that would get bullied would always get bullied for being a fan of Dhar Mann or something like that, and the bullies would be the people who hate Dhar Mann. If you hate Dhar Mann, you're a bully in this universe. And there would be kids who'd be fans of his, and they'd wear his merch, and they'd promote his merch in videos. It just really felt like using kids to sell your brand, and it felt like indoctrinating kids to me a little bit. It really weirded me out, but I tried to assume that his intentions might be good. But now we're seeing if he's not paying his actors fairly and he's not compensating them fairly, what's frustrating about this is that a lot of his actors are kids. A lot of them are minors. They are teenagers. They are people who have not yet gotten to the point to reach adulthood. And you guys know I have a big issue with kids being exploited in the media. I talked about that extensively in my review of Jeanette McCurdy's book, I'm Glad My Mom Died. I talked about that a little bit when I reviewed Prince Harry's book a couple weeks ago. I don't like seeing the ways that kids get exploited in the media for the profit of adults. That really upsets me. And that's why I just think it's extra sad that there's kids feeling the need to protest as well, that there's kids feeling that they're not being treated fairly. That's bad. But let's see what she has to say here.
Hey guys, it's Brianni and we're peacefully protesting, and guess what?
Oh my god, look at her caption here. Dhar Mann Studio called the police, he instantly regrets it! That's not funny in the sense that it's like, I can't believe he did that, she's about to talk about it, but I love it when people who are criticizing Dhar Mann use his style of writing. And she literally was like, Dhar Mann treated his employees badly, instantly regrets it. This girl's got a sense of humor. Shout out to her. Again, I'll leave her TikTok linked below.
Dhar Mann called the police. But even the police are on our side.
Dhar Mann's.
So she said Dhar Mann called the police, but the police are on her side. That's amazing. Hold on, what does her sign say here? Fraud man! Why did you fire me secretly for my medical condition without asking? Whoa! What is the context of this? So that's what her sign says. I'm wondering if we can find more about this.
But even the police are on our side.
Oh, her sign says, why did you fire me for my medical condition without asking if I'm okay? And I love how they're all also wearing Dhar Mann's merch while they're protesting him. Like, she has What Would Dhar Mann Do on her sweatshirt.
Dhar Mann Studios has called the police on our peaceful protest because...
Okay, so this guy is wearing another piece of Dhar Mann merch. What happens next is shocking. Another common thing that's always in his video titles. And apparently Dhar Mann called the police. Oh my god. He called the police on his own employees protesting him because he chose not to meet with them. Well, if it isn't the consequences of his own actions.
Because they thought the police would get us out of here. We are not breaking the law. We are within our rights. They are wrong and they know it. They're afraid of us, so they tried to get us out of here. But the police are on our side.
All right, so the police were like, Dhar Mann, nope, there's nothing wrong with this. I love it. I love it. I love this. So this is Mare Mulroney, who is another actress in a lot of Dhar Mann videos. I think she's played the babysitter character a lot. She's often like an evil babysitter. She plays that type of character. I've also seen her play like an evil store clerk who will steal from the store. But she's in a lot of his videos. And I just love the side she's holding up. Multimillionaire ignores actors, instantly regrets it. And damn. But I love it. I love how everyone's standing up for themselves, using Dhar Mann's own rhetoric against him, saying, hey, these were the things you told us. You told us about instantly regretting things. You told us about telling the truth and being honest and treating other people with respect. You're not doing it. We're going to call you out on that. Use your own words against you. Exactly. I love how they're doing that. And then finally there is this actress named Jessica Ruth Bell, and she has put up an Instagram reel with hashtag protest Dhar Mann, so let's take a look at that as well.
With the way we've been treated here at Dhar, we asked for a meeting and we were told that we were not being given a meeting.
So here's what's going on at Dhar Mann Studios. We had a strike today, and I'll tell you why we had a strike.
I also love that she's wearing Dhar Mann merch as well. I think this is a coordinated effort. They all wore Dhar Mann merch for this. So this is another piece of his merch where it's like, no one ever. So you see, because that's a common thing he says in all his videos, right? He goes, you see the skit play out, and then the character realizes the error of their ways, and they go, so you see, and then they drop some truth bomb. They give us a little quotable message that he can put on more merch to sell it, and things like that. So she's wearing that piece of merch while she's talking about the fact that everybody is protesting things.
So a lot of the actors, the crew, are feeling like they're being disrespected in the workplace. It's a really toxic environment. Our jobs are never set in stone. We don't have any job security. People have been fired over having medical conditions.
So that's what that girl's sign said that she was holding up. I don't know if it was her that got fired for it or someone else. And so far, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's public who was fired for having a medical condition. And I almost don't want to report on it because I haven't been able to find anything specifically. It might be private information that is not available to be revealed, but if someone else knows something, you can let me know in the comments below. Regardless, the fact that people are upset saying we don't have any job security, we have been let go for having medical conditions, that's a scary environment to be in. I see why people are protesting. And I'm not here to say that Dhar Mann's necessarily doing anything illegal, because I know that medical discrimination can be a legal issue in a lot of cases, but if people are contract workers, I know technically you can sometimes renew or not renew a contract for any reason. So I'm not here to comment on any legality of anything, just to say that I can see why that's extremely scary, and I applaud all of these actors for speaking out about this.
It's wrong. It's just wrong. And if you say anything like, hey, I think we could do this better, you're fired. So we decided, hey, we'll band together. We will set up a meeting with Dhar Mann himself to go over, hey, what can we do to make this better? We never got that meeting. And we asked, and we asked, and we asked.
That's so upsetting that he won't meet with his own employees. Without his actors, he wouldn't have any videos. He doesn't act in, I guess he acts in his own videos sometimes when he's playing a character that everybody likes in that universe. Isn't that weird? He writes himself into his own universe and makes himself a universally loved character. It's very weird. But the point is, these actors are a key component to what he's doing, and he won't meet with them. Not meeting with your own employees? That's just blowing my mind.
And we didn't get it. We didn't get the meeting. So I'll tell you why I'm here online telling you about this and why I was at the strike, because I feel like it shouldn't be hard for people to get paid by their employer. I feel like corners shouldn't be cut. There was one time that $50 was just left off of my paycheck. But I've only been here for a year, and there are people who have been here for 3-4 years that have stories that are much, much worse than my little story. So if you're one of those people, if you have been disrespected by Dhar Mann Studios, remix is real. Give me your story. Hashtag protest Dhar Mann.
All right, hashtag protest Dhar Mann. That's all. That's so you guys can follow that hashtag protest Dhar Mann to watch what's going on with everything there. This is just extremely sad to see this happening. I'm not surprised. As much as I've wanted to hope that Dhar Mann might be an ethical boss, or might hope that he has changed his ways, or hope that even if his videos are cheesy, that at least he's a good person. At this point, it really seems like, just like I suspected in the first place, that he really is just after the money, and he's doing this for the sake of his own career and his own profit. And while everyone is always in business to make money in the first place, I mean, his actors are working for him to make money as well, so the fact that he's treating them so poorly really shows what a selfish guy he is. I'm not a perfect person, but I'm definitely not here to defend Dhar Mann whatsoever. This is really disgusting, and I just think it's such a shame how he's branded himself as this person that is so ethical, that is always about positivity, that's always about uplifting other people and spreading a positive message and helping each other. He tries to have this channel where it's all about, oh, we can learn these videos. We're not just telling stories, we're changing lives. That's what he always says. We're changing lives and trying to change people's lives. And then when it comes to his actors, he seemed to only change their lives for the worse by firing people, by making people afraid for their job security, by not paying people what they're worth, by not having people make enough money to afford their cost of living. That's just not right, man.
That ain't right.
But I'm going to be following the story as it continues to go on. I also saw that there was a fantastic video put out on this topic by a YouTuber named Jarvis Johnson, whose channel I really like because he's done this thing called Dhar Mann Bingo in the past, where every time one of the weird tropes in a Dhar Mann video shows up, you have to mark a spot on the bingo board. It's really funny. He's done a good job always making fun of Dhar Mann and keeping things comedic, but he's been covering this situation as well, and I think that that's great to have a larger creator speaking out about this topic. So I will link all of that stuff in the description below. Please check it out for more information on this. I really hope we can see some new developments over the next couple weeks on this and see what happens. I appreciate you guys being here. I will see you guys again later this week for more videos, but in the meantime, please continue to support small businesses. Maybe not Dhar Mann unless he finally has that meeting with his actors, but otherwise support small businesses, and if you own a small business, pay your employees and converse with them, please. Because we all need to help each other out in this world, okay? Have a good day. Bye.
Get you some nuts.
There was lots of memes.
Makes me wonder if I should pick up lesbianism.
Chicago. You guys asked for it.